Hello and welcome. I want to begin with a question that, in my opinion, defines much of the anxiety of our modern lives. Have you ever felt paralyzed by so many options? Have you ever felt like, for every decision, there's a universe of paths to follow, and that your biggest worry isn't making a mistake, but choosing the least ideal path? From choosing which series to watch this weekend, to deciding which career path to pursue, who to marry, where to live, we live in a world of abundant options, but this abundance often leads to exhaustion and anxiety, a true paralysis of choice. And this constant indecision makes us question, am I making the right choice? And the truth is, amidst so much noise, the voice of wisdom seems almost impossible to hear. But what if I told you there's a story, a narrative of a king who, despite being young and inexperienced, made a choice that made him the wisest man who ever lived? What if this story wasn't just about wisdom, but about making choices that impact not just your life, but that of an entire nation? What if this story showed us that true wisdom isn't about having all the answers, but about knowing what to ask God? Today we're going to delve into the story of Solomon, but not in the way you've heard. I want people to see Solomon's life as a practical guide for navigating a world of options, so that we can, like him, learn to make wise choices that lead us to a life of purpose, peace, and victory. Solomon's story doesn't begin with him as the wisest man. It begins with him as a young, inexperienced king, assuming the throne of an empire that his father, the great King David, had consolidated with blood and courage. Imagine the pressure. Solomon was a young man, perhaps 20 years old, and suddenly he was the leader of an entire nation. The expectations were enormous. He had an army, a court, a people to rule, and a legacy of faith to continue. He had all the options of power and wealth at his fingertips, but he lacked the experience or wisdom to handle it all. And he knew it. He possessed a humility of consideration that was too small for the responsibility given to him. And it is in this scenario of pressure and humility that God visits him in a dream, in Gibeon. And God, in his generosity and grace, asks a question that would make us all dizzy. Ask for whatever I give you. Imagine this question in your life. Imagine God giving you a blank check. What would you ask for? Our minds would immediately race to the options the world sells us as happiness. I would ask for wealth, so I would never have to worry about money again. I would ask for longevity, so I could live longer. I would ask for power, so my enemies wouldn't defeat me. I would ask for fame, so everyone would know and admire me. But Solomon, in his humility, made a choice that changed his life forever. He responded to God, "O Lord my God, you have made me king in place of my father David, and I am only a young man and inexperienced. And now, therefore, give me wisdom and knowledge, that I may go out and come in before your people. For who is able to judge this great people of yours?" And herein lies the first fundamental lesson about wisdom. Solomon did not ask for something for himself. He asked for something for his people. He did not ask for wealth to fill himself, but for wisdom to serve. He did not ask for power to dominate, but for wisdom to judge. He understood that true wisdom is not a gift for our own benefit, but a tool for service and responsibility. And God's response was immediate and generous. God was so pleased with Solomon's choice that he said, "Because this was your desire, and you did not ask for riches, wealth, or honor, nor for the life of your enemies, nor even for a long life, but you asked for wisdom and knowledge, that you might judge my people. Behold, I give you wisdom and knowledge, and I will also give you riches, wealth, and honor, such as were not among those before you, nor will be after you. God not only gave Solomon what he asked for, but he gave him everything he did not ask for. And here is a truth we need to internalize. When we seek God's wisdom, when we put his kingdom first, all other things are given to us as well. What are you seeking? What do you ask of God? The answer to this question reveals what your heart truly desires. Solomon's wisdom was not theoretical. It was practical and real. The Bible gives us a classic and famous example of this wisdom in action, the case of the two mothers. Two women, two prostitutes, came to Solomon with a baby. One of them had suffocated her child during the night, and the next morning exchanged her dead child for the other woman's living child. Both claimed the living baby was theirs. It was a case impossible to solve with evidence because there were no witnesses. And Solomon, in his wisdom, gave the most shocking order. Cut the baby in half and give half to each of them. And the women's incident was what revealed the truth. The false mother, driven by envy and pride, was exceptional, but the true mother, driven by love and compassion, begged Solomon, "No, my lord, give her the living baby, please, no man." And Solomon, in his wisdom, knew that a true mother's love is the only one capable of opening her child's hand to save him. He gave the baby to the real mother, and herein lies wisdom. It's not just having knowledge, it's having the ability to see beyond the obvious, to see into people's hearts, and to make a just decision, even when the situation seems impossible. Solomon, with his wisdom, built the temple, the place of the Spirit to God, which became the glory of Israel. He wrote proverbs, poems, and songs. He wrote about nature, animals, and plants. His wisdom became lent, and he was sought out by kings and queens from all over the world. The Queen of Sheba came from far away to hear Solomon's wisdom, and after seeing all that, she was amazed and said, "I have not been told the half." Solomon's wisdom was a testament, but Solomon's story has a final lesson, and perhaps the most important of all. Solomon's story ends not with wisdom, but with folly. The Bible tells us that Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived, had 700 wives and 300 concubines, many of them from holy nations, and his wives led him astray, testament to God's power and generosity. He allowed altars to pagan gods to be built in Israel, and he worshipped other gods. And because of his disobedience, God divided his kingdom. Solomon, the man who had the wisdom to ask God for the right thing, at the end of his life, forgot God, and his life became an example that wisdom without holiness, knowledge without conformity, victory without humility is dangerous. Wisdom is not a one-time acquisition, but a daily pursuit. Wisdom is not something we possess, but something we practice. Wisdom is not just knowing what to do, but having the courage to do what is right, even when the world offers a million other options. If Solomon's story resonated with you today, and you're struggling to make wise choices, I urge you to take action. Share in the comments below what decision is most paralyzing you today and how your faith is helping you find wisdom. Your story could be the inspiration someone needs to make the right choice. And if you want more stories like this that guide your faith and give you courage, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. In our next video, we'll explore the perseverance of Job, how to maintain faith in the midst of pain and loss. Thank you for being here with me. May Solomon's journey inspire you to seek God's wisdom so you can make choices that lead to a life of purpose, victory, and peace. Until next time.